That's all I knew. I didn't know I was supposed to be good at it. I didn't know I was supposed to get my family out the hood. I didn't know any of that. The only place that made sense is shutting the noise out. Like, it's a click in the. That's what the ball does for me. It's just like cancel everything out. The story would be told of a player going broke that the NBA gave them a life they never had. The money that is, okay, that's cool, but you're in high school and you skipping class if you're dribbling the ball with us.
Yeah.
You graduating and you're going to college and we're still dribbling the ball. And you're having kids and watching them grow up and we're still dribbling the ball. And they take the only life we know. And now we look crazy for still dribbling the ball. That's not fair. That's wrong. That's wrong. I just can't never not acknowledge that part.
Hi, Michael, and welcome to Common Denominator.
Oh, man. What's up? How you?
Doing great. So obviously you have the height, but the training, was it something like deep when you were a young child? You grabbed the basketball and you said, you know what? I want to do this for my family. I want to go to the NBA.
No. At first, we all want to do what the next us want to do, which is our friends, right? So my best example is dogs not knowing what a mirror is. You ever go to someone's house with a Rottweiler and a Chihuahua,
Mm-hmm.
and the Chihuahua is so aggressive,
Always.
and the Rottweiler is just a big lap dog? It's because we can only see who we are through who we spend our time with.
That's right.
You know
Top 5 people were around.
So that's all I knew. I didn't know I was supposed to be good at it. I didn't know I was supposed to get my family out the hood. I didn't know any of that. It's just the only place that made sense as far as shutting the noise out, right? So from the second the ball bounced, you ever been around somebody recording music? Like, it's a click in the. That's what the ball does for me. It's just like cancel everything out and just it's just been that, just my quiet place. And one of my favorite quotes, that what you do most is what you do best. And I think I've played basketball more than I've took steps in life.
How was that first game in the NBA?
The first game was a dub, man. First game was a dub. I just remember, I think Al Harrington was guarding me. I'm mad this went in. I'm so upset it went in. Because now, forever, my first NBA bucket would be me going to the left. I think I spent left to right, and the ball rolled down my arm. All I could do was just flick it up. And it just went in. I was so... I wish they would have went over the basket. Like, I wish it would have just went 30, because it was just such an ugly basket.
What's one of your top favorite memory? 11 seasons in the NBA.
My top memory is without a doubt, 11, 10, 10. My career high. At 42 points. And I just remember being so nervous because my son's mom at the time called me right when we got on the team bus. She was going into labor. And she called me right before we warmed up. And I remember feeling guilty because it was my first son. I wasn't there and whatever. I was in Sacramento. He was in New York. But I remember feeling guilty that I wasn't there. She called me. He was born right before the game. And I just told myself, bro, we got to win the game. And I never had my career high. So that's like something me and my son can share. So that's without a doubt number one.
What actually happens as far as the earnings? Young players, you were 19. You got your rookie contract. What can be done now? Because we're hearing, after taxes, after management fees.
What I think can be done now, and I probably shouldn't say this out loud because I kind of want to put together a fund like you are to save the players. So I think it should be mandatory for each league, each professional league, Well, now with the NIL and kids getting paid in high school, I think it should be mandatory for that first check, second check, anything up to, like, these players making millions of dollars, so anything up to $5 million, right? Mandatory for whether it's your first check or your first 2 or 3 checks or your contract, or I mean your contract, right? Your first $5 million should go into a whole life, and that should go into a trust fund. I think we teach our kids, and especially in my community, that saving money is the way, but inflation on a country is the fastest way to,
That's smart. That's right.
And from a basketball player that comes from where I come from, it's only worse, because rather than what we think, because we're getting more money, we save more money, we actually in the bad because we don't understand taxes, and now we don't understand that $1 is $2, and we don't understand inflation, and then we think saving that money, and then we turn around and $10 million is only $7 million 5 years later. 1% in the bank. They're not teaching us that we can get 10% in real estate. They're not teaching us that we can get 30 years over the S&P, or 10% over the S&P over 30 years. So I think if the NBA makes it mandatory, the numbers will go down from players going broke to 70 to 80%. It's players out here that's not playing anymore, that can't earn the funds anymore, that really need the knowledge.
So I want to just do the math, because it's something that I thought about, and tell me, because it seems this way, right? 450 players, active players, right? Roughly, 15 on 30 teams. I think the average time in the NBA is maybe 4 or 5 years. Average?
Average 4 years, yeah.
4 years, right? You get your rookie contract, $5 million. Maybe less, maybe more.
On the low end, the money has to be way more than what I was making in 2008. My first year, I was making 4.5, almost 4.6
per year. But that's as a rookie. That's actually
as a rookie. But I'm number 2 pick, so everybody's not number 2 pick, right? So in the NBA, we all, contrary to popular belief, we save our money as much as we can through our first contract, and we bank on getting the second. A lot of guys fuck that first one up, because, and a 19-year-old, a little bit of it, you got to learn how to wash your own dollars and wash your own laundry before you know how bad they stink.
Well, you can give a little piece, right? You should give a little piece, right? You should reward yourself, maybe 10%, 20%, whatever it happens to be. Even though you're 19, 20, you get this contract. And so you can enjoy life, take care of your mom, take care of whatever you're doing.
And teach these kids, like, we call it balling, getting this money and buying this cars and da-da-da-da. But your side of life called it living well. And you just teach these kids the fine line between balling and living well. It's like you can have all of the same nice things. It's not about what you do. It's just about how you do it and the time, and the fashion you do it in. So I just think, knowledge and preserving one is definitely the way to go.
Do you think the NBA as an organization is doing enough for the mental health of the players?
No. And that's the part I had to learn myself. The NBA will tell a story, and I love the NBA. I love everything they've done for me. I love everything they continue to do for me. My friends, my family, but I just have to be honest. The story will be told of a player going broke that the NBA gave them a life they never had, which is true. Cars, money, da-da-da-da. But from the perspective of the horse in the race, right? Who's been bred from day one, you can tell a story of giving me a life I never had, but then now I can tell a story of you taking the only life I know. The money is okay, that's cool, but we're dribbling the ball when you leave high school. When you're in high school, and you skipping class if you're dribbling the ball with us.
Yeah.
You graduating and going to college and we're still dribbling the ball. And you're having kids and watching them grow up and we're still dribbling the ball. And then they take the only life we know. And now we look crazy for still dribbling the ball.
Yeah.
We don't know what taxes are. We don't know what a W-2 are. We never seen a fucking resume, let alone know what the real world is. And some guys figure it out, some guys don't. And the ones that don't, the world just laugh at. Delonte West.
Yeah, the world's tough.
Allen Iverson for a while. Fucking Antoine Walker had to get through it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not fair. That's wrong. That's wrong. And as great as my life can be or is, or I just can't never not acknowledge that part. And
I'll tell you, I know I definitely see it. It's not just in the NBA, but that, right? So in a lot of sports and things, but there should be a real, like a pot of money and help and people, the transition.
See, I don't know if pot of money is the thing because like you said, like I said earlier, like the 80%, now there's a reason these players, right? And sometimes, like a lot of the times, now I'm not going to say something, a lot of the time it's not the players. Trevor Ariza is one of my like LeBron James-esque heroes. I've been watching him also, since like start watching Bron and paying attention to basketball, and he was one of the first guys that went against Bron in high school. So
yeah,
it was, he just been, and like everything he say, I just kind of live by, right? One day I'm just riding in the car with him, and he say, I guess, the loudest sentence I ever heard in my life. He said, Michael Beasley, you probably one of the smartest guys I ever met in my life, but you're loyal to the dumbest people I've seen.
Yeah.
And I use that, and I thank him for that because I literally cut everybody off around me. Like, I don't know who he's talking about, but, but I use that as an example because we only know to love who we know to love. We grow up with who we grow up, and that's all we know.
Yeah.
We get this money, and we listen to people tell us what to do next week with some money that they never even could fathom last week. And it takes a lot of guys longer than others to figure it out. And it's taking it a step further. A lot of us are non-confrontational because we're so big. So if we get into an argument, it's easy to tell those people that the big guy was yelling. The cops, that the big guy broke it. So guys my size are more scared of you guys than you know. So we're more timid because we know if you take something from me and I say, possession is 9/10 of the law. So all you got to do is tell them a convincing story, and the elephant being in a room and is a good story, a good reason for it being fucked up. You understand? So that goes in our heads when every encounter we get. So when you do something, I do notice you stealing. I do know. I just don't want to lose my family or be in jail because like the first thing is I'm gonna. The second thing is I don't want them to be in jail. And the third and ultimate thing is out of abandonment issues. Like I tell my friend all the time. Well, I told my friend the other day, like I seen my family on a sinking ship. I seen them let me do things that I shouldn't. I seen myself acting the way but I was just scared to get off the boat because that's the only family I had. It's like two evils. Like I cut my family off and I don't, and I'm alone in this world, or I just watch what they do and die with them.
Yeah.
And just unfortunately, I just chose to die with them.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, it's been a very unique, right? Coming from where you came from, being drafted second in the NBA and everything that you've been through. What's something that you're grateful for?
Life, air, like literally air. And that's so cliche. But I like to live my life in air. I like to do deeds that nobody see. I like to do things behind the camera. I like to... God is so grand and so accepting that air touches everything, good and evil. No judgment.
Yeah.
Guy behind bars, guy on top of the mountain, a billionaire, and a guy with not a dollar in his pocket. Air love us all.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for air because nobody else acknowledges it. It's the only thing they haven't charged us for yet, but it's the most valuable thing in the world. Like literally, if God snap it off right now, we got 5 minutes tops.